Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 802, Champions League Final, Paris is burning. Oh, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well on my end. How are you?
Yeah, I'm a building machine right now. I've got my carpenter pants on. I've got my hammer in my carpenter pants. I've been using power tools. It's been fun.
What are you building?
Ooh, what aren't I building? So we built. So
well, based on what I could see behind you, cardboard boxes. It looks like. But
yeah, pretty much. Friday, I built. We bought like a kind of like a hutch storage cabinet for the kitchen from Wayfair. So I had to build that. That took about 5 hours. And then Saturday, we went to Costco and I got a nice like shelving unit to put in the behind the kitchen as like a pantry, because there is no dedicated pantry, so that'll serve as like the shelves for all our stuff that was in the pantry. So that took a few hours to build. And then yesterday we bought an armoire off of Facebook Marketplace, like a nice IKEA one that's got like the sliding glass doors from IKEA, and you can put a bunch. It's like really nice. It's like super tall. We bought it like probably 2 weeks ago off of Facebook Marketplace. This guy had their house was like a steep uphill, and these things are heavy, and he had it basically built where like it's two basically like bookshelves, almost like two tall thin bookshelves, and then you kind of put them together and you put the doors on. So he had the doors off, but everything else was still built together, and we carried them down this like steep house. These things were heavy. We rented a U-Haul. We loaded them in the U-Haul. We got back to the house. We unloaded them. And literally in the act of trying to get it through the door into the bedroom, like it snapped and everything broke and all the pieces broke off. So for 2 weeks, it just sat there broken. And then on Sunday, I pulled out the power tools and kind of had to drill it back together and kind of makeshift put it back, but got it together. And I'll tell you what, putting together a used IKEA piece of equipment is a very difficult task. Like there's no instructions. I had to go on like, of course you have to find a YouTube video, and this was like an older model, so I had to find like a 5-year-old YouTube video of some, I think it was like a Romanian dude putting it together, but took about a good 5 hours to get this thing together. But it is now up and functioning, and it's definitely useful. So,
and the economics of renting a U-Haul to pick it up is
$25.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why at that point? Why are you even charging?
Like, I don't know.
What's the point of saying to someone 25? Just it's free.
It's like 25 an hour.
No. Oh, okay. No. Oh, okay. How much did the IKEA object cost though? The shelves?
Like 150.
Okay.
And
so,
new it was like 800, because we originally were going to get one new, and I was like, let me check Marketplace, because we're only going to be here for a year, right? And now that thing's not fucking coming out. Like, I don't know how someone's going to get this out of the bedroom. This is staying in the house for life.
Great. Hopefully you
lose my security deposit.
Hopefully your landlord is not a listener of the podcast.
It's nice though, because there's no closet in the master bedroom. It's a huge master bedroom, but there's no closet. So it's pretty useful to have in there. And then today I'm building a little storage unit for the bathroom as soon as we wrap up this podcast. So it'll be like 4 days in a row of building stuff.
I do enjoy
building. And there
building.
are still 70 boxes worth of shit to unpack.
The building part is the fun part, I think, of moving in somewhere. That's at least unpacking boxes is not fun, but as I said, I can see from behind you that you probably need to make some inroads on that front.
Yeah. At least every box labeled kitchen has been unpacked. The kitchen is fully unpacked. Right. One room down.
Well, speaking of putting things back together, cleaning up a mess, this weekend obviously had the Champions League.
Oh,
No. Well, that's a job. A lot of power drills would be required for that. But Paris Saint-Germain won the Champions League. They beat Inter Milan 5-0 on Saturday in a
is
very
that what it
one.
ended up being? Like generally, honestly,
Yeah, that's where it finished
wow.
5-0. It's the biggest ever winning margin in the history of the Champions League final. It was obviously celebrated very heavily here in Paris.
Oh, I saw the videos. I'm sure you loved that.
That celebration spilled over into a very destructive element, as is often the case when teams win sporting championships. Now, people love using it as an opportunity to break into stores and do a bit of looting. This, I
I
think,
will
what
say this. I will burn a little bit of bridges here. I feel like that is particularly bad in Paris. I feel like 80% of the people that were out causing trouble could give two shits about PSG.
well, yes, I mean, I think the weird thing was they were kind of out causing trouble during the match because you can get the videos of them sort of in the streets celebrating goals as they found out they were being scored. I think that's true. I think, look, I don't when the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl and there's millions of people out on the street. Do I think all of them care deeply and passionately about the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yes, almost yes. I would probably say yes to that.
I
Does
think
that
there's
mean
a
that they're not trashy people and celebrating inappropriately? No, it doesn't. But I think a majority of those people are genuine in being out there to celebrate and probably cause havoc at the same time. Whereas I feel like a lot of the people in Paris are literally just there to cause chaos and havoc.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both, but I think that's true. I think that's universally true. But I think they went way overboard. So this included 2 deaths, 192 serious injuries, 22 of which were police officers, and one police officer who is now in a medically induced coma. There were 692 fires, 264 cars were burned, and 559 people were arrested. And it's bad because Macron in these they went to the Elysee Palace, the kind of French equivalent of the White House, to celebrate their victory on Sunday. And even Macron had to mention it. It was the elephant in the room. So you had to have the president of France acknowledging the fact that it was shameful the ways in which people had celebrated. And I think part of why it really bothers me is there's this big conversation surrounding it. Because look, however you want to feel about Qatar owning Paris Saint-Germain and a kind of state-owned victory in the Champions League, but they get a lot of credit, the Qataris, for creating this family atmosphere and environment now at PSG and the ways in which they've changed the culture and all of those types of things. And look, they can't change the culture of an entire city necessarily, but maybe we haven't undergone the culture shift that they are currently doing victory laps celebrating.
Yeah, that's quite a rap sheet you read off there. The obviously the deaths are terrible, but it must be so shitty to have your car just randomly burned down from like a celebration. That has to suck so much.
Yeah, I do. I will say this. Like, burning cars is very popular in France. It is the go-to. And if you had your car parked on the street in certain areas, you were either an idiot or maybe you wanted the insurance payout. I don't know. I don't know which way that leaned. And look, the one thing I will say is there were lots of nice cars burned, which also makes me suspicious. So you did see a bunch of like Porsches and stuff where they'd just been completely destroyed. And that those were going to get burned because part of it is sometimes the sort of anti-capitalist celebration of sort of fuck the
Of a
rich.
team owned by
owned by the
Saudis.
owned by the richest people in the world, but
Yeah.
with footballers making hundreds of thousands of euros a week. But the part of that is definitely, but I do kind of get maybe if you walk downstairs and the next morning and been like, someone burned my fucking Renault like Clio. How'd that happen? Like, I get the Mercedes and the Porsches.
You'd be so pissed.
I'd be like, but why the fuck did you buy my 1998 car worth, €3,500? Why'd that have to happen?
Imagine you like don't even live in the city center and just like randomly in the suburbs, like a group of 6 people were celebrating on a street and just randomly lit your car on fire. Like, come on.
But definitely, I think there was some insurance fraud. It was a good opportunity for insurance fraud. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, car burning, I don't get it. I have to admit, I've never been so excited by a team winning that I've decided I wanted to set fire to anything. But
Yeah,
it's popular here.
strange. Who knows? Maybe if we ever hit the play spot again at Royal Ascot, as we leave, we'll set fire to some cars outside the Stag.
Yes, just set fire to the Stag.
They might want it for insurance purposes.
That wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, no. So 5-0. Star of the show was Doué, who scored 2 goals and had an assist. It was 2-0 after 20 minutes, and to be honest with you, Inter never really recovered from the shell shock of the early goals. Some pretty bad defending from Inter. Especially, I mean, for the first goal, it's a nice little move to set up Hakimi. So there's some good movement from PSG in the box, but it's also just some really, really awful defending. And DeMarco, who was playing left wing back for Inter, I think that's goes down as maybe one of the worst individual performances in Champions League final history ever. I mean, he from start to when he was subbed off in the beginning of the second half, he just was struggling to keep up with whether it was Doué, Dembele, Hakimi, whoever was taking him on down that right hand side. He was completely lost, and I think you could say sort of yes, the movement's nice, but he's responsible for the first goal because he plays them onside and also I think, had to stick with Hakimi and instead just sort of wandered into no man's land to kind of try and close Doué down, which he was never going to be able to do. And
Yeah,
then
I don't know what that was.
for the second goal, he turns his back on Doué when he's shooting, and the deflection takes it in. And I don't understand how you just turn your back on the ball like that. If he just faces the ball, he easily blocks it, and nothing comes from it. So yeah, awful performance from him. Awful performance from Inter Milan, and I have to say, as a neutral, it was just disappointing. It wasn't a fun game to watch. For PSG supporters, I'm sure wonderful. Although I was watching it with some PSG supporters, and even to them, I remarked, don't you kind of want it to be a bit more competitive? Like,
exciting.
yeah, because it's very anticlimactic in the final 20 minutes when you're winning 4-0 at that stage. But they disagreed with me. And then I tried to sell them on the theory of, don't you really not want them to win because it will be better if they just always fall short? They didn't agree with me on that one.
They didn't like that one?
No. I got told once again one of the dumbest theories I've ever had.
Yeah. So I was at Costco and then kind of tried to plan it perfectly that we would roll into the bar right as the match started, but rolled in about 15 minutes late and it was already 1-0. And then as soon as we walked in, before we even ordered a drink, it was like 2-0. And then it turned out pretty nice. I ordered a drink, ordered lunch, and then by then the match was fully said and done, and got up and got out and was home before the match even ended, I think. So yeah, it was pretty boring to watch. I mean, like there was one point when it was 2-0 that Inter tried to make a little bit of a push, and you thought like maybe here if they can get one and get back in this match, but they tried to make a push, but then they were so bad on like trying to defend the counter that it was bad. So yeah, it was disappointing. Got to go to a nice bar that I found. That was a nice little Irish pub. That was nice. So
no, you're right.
Silver lining.
The final 15, 20 minutes of the first half, Inter, it seemed like they'd kind of got into the match and were a bit more comfortable. Ultimately, they just could not deal with the way in which PSG were pressing them. I mean, it was credit to PSG, the work rate and effort that they put in to close Inter down immediately and consistently, but they were, just putting pressure on Inter as soon as they got the ball. And the way Inter play, they actually do rely on Sommer, their goalkeeper, being quite involved in starting their attacking movements, in that they have a very fluid shape defensively and in midfield, and they expect their players to be able to, run into different spaces and take up different positions, and from there to find overloads and mismatches that they can take advantage of. And because of the way Sommer was being pressed, instead of being able to sort of start anything with any real attacking movement, it was just a case of getting the ball out of his feet to avoid anything catastrophic happening. And then they were able to swarm on that sort of next pass as well. So it was disappointing. It was, it's great for PSG. It's their first Champions League. They're the second French side after Marseille to have won the Champions League. So it's good for French football. And I think both Inter and PSG being successful this season is, nice to see, because they are two teams that I would say arguably lack any stars at the moment. There are young players within those teams who may become real stars, but that's based on potential. There's no genuine kind of world-class star in that we watched in that match. And so, sort of nice to see two teams make the final. But in the end, Inter fell tremendously short.
Yeah. Doué might not be world class, but he's world class shredded. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he was in good shape. Got booked for taking his shirt off, but maybe it was
worth it.
Worth showing it off.
2 minutes, well worth it.
But yeah, no, there's a few players there who could make the leap over the next 6 to 12 months. And Dembele now may be the front runner for the Ballon d'Or, although he had a rather uneventful final. So I think that will be the thing that will disappoint him, is had he managed to get a goal, then I think he really is the favorite for the Ballon d'Or. But still, it's hard to make a strong case for anyone else. In other sporting news, staying on the theme of Paris, I suppose, I'll have a mini rant.
Oh boy.
Which is French Open related, which is progressing. Roland Garros we're heading into, just started the second week today. And so far, all of the really big favorites have made it through on both the women's and men's side of the draw. There has been some controversy, and it was also controversial last year, in that the way that the tickets for Roland Garros are sold is you get day session tickets and night session tickets, which is not unusual at Grand Slams. The thing that's a little bit unusual with the French Open is that it's just one match. So when you buy a night session ticket, you are getting like center court one match. And as a result of that, they decide to only put men's singles matches in that slot, because it means it guarantees you at least 3 sets. Whereas if they put a women's match there, it could only be 2 sets. And if it's 6-2, 6-2, you could buy your night session ticket and find yourself walking out of the stadium after 45 minutes. So, but this gets a lot of backlash because it's perceived as being slightly sexist and not putting the two sides of the draw, the men's and women's game, on equal footing.
So you really buy the argument that you get an extra set, and that's why, and not because men are better. That's the argument you're going with.
I do genuinely believe it. Amelie Mauresmo is the person in charge, is the director of the French Open, former women's number 1 tennis player, one of the more prominent openly gay athletes really of all time, I suppose.
Why can't you just be an athlete, Eddie?
Well, because I'm just saying, for all the people who would be interested perhaps in championing minorities within sports, I think it would be surprising for her to be intentionally making the decision to just support the men's game. But look, I think it makes sense, is that you get to turn up and at least you're getting 3 sets of entertainment, versus I'm going to pay 250 euros to turn up and see maybe an hour. But I can also understand there's no perfect solution, is the unfortunate thing. I can understand why people think this is primetime TV. It means if you get home from work and you turn on Roland Garros in Europe, you are guaranteed to be watching a men's match. So if you're talking
about... Why can't they just do a men's and a women's and start a little earlier?
They could do that. That would be the one solution. Although the turnaround time, having gone there, the turnaround time is pretty quick. So like when you're getting kicked out, so everyone has to leave the entire grounds. So if you have a day ticket, they've got to clear everyone out, and then they have to let everyone in for the night session. So you lose like an hour and a half just from that transition from day to night. So without being less greedy, I guess is the one. That's the real way they could do it. They could be just slightly less greedy and not sell 2 sets of tickets, and then as a result of that, they could put a women's match on and alternate before after in prime time. Because the thing that I think a lot of people have said, oh, well, the Australian Open manages it because the Australian Open does a men's and women's match in the nighttime session. But then the players complain because then Australian Open matches occasionally finish at 2
1
a.m.
a.m. Yeah.
And then the players say that it ruins their tournament. The French Open is trying to respect the players' wishes of let's not make you play past at the latest midnight if you were involved in an intense 5-setter. But at the same time, trying to make money and as much money as possible, clearly.
Have you been watching a lot of the French Open?
Yeah. I mean, it's the great thing of working from home is that I have it nonstop on in the background. Today I watched Djokovic for a bit. I did watch Boisson the beat Perluga, and there have been some good matches. Alcaraz Shelton yesterday was a good match.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
The Alcaraz Shelton, that wasn't the one where he makes the dive for the save, is it? Or is that the match before with Shelton?
You mean where he let go of his racket?
No, that was Alcaraz that let go of the racket, right? Yeah. No, Shelton literally made like a dot, like he was like falling and like kind of like jumps and dives and makes a play on the ball and actually saves the point. I think it wasn't Alcaraz, it was the one before.
But no, there's been some good matches. It looks like we're heading towards Alcaraz Sinner final, and the real question it would be, or maybe Djokovic finds his way to, have a chance at his 25th Grand Slam.
Maybe they do a 3-way.
Maybe the women's side is extremely open. I think it's hard to tell there. Swiatek looks really good, but then she often does until she doesn't, and. Like she'll be cruising through and then she'll lose 6-2, 6-2, unexpected, sort of pull completely out of nowhere. And then Sabalenka also looks very good, as does Goff.
Yeah, and that rounds up 2 weeks from now. No,
this weekend.
This weekend, yeah. Because it's usually like 2 weeks before Ascot. That's how I remember the French Open.
Now, this weekend also saw the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. We don't really cover Formula One, and I'm not going to start now. But J.J. Watt, who has an opinion on everything at the moment, I have to say, got himself in a little bit of controversy because he said, watching the build-up to the Formula One Spanish Grand Prix, and they keep hammering home how hot it is, how the temperature is going to affect things, how it's roasting outside. Having lived in both Houston and Arizona, I had to check to see what temps were causing this type of commentary, and then screenshotted his weather app saying that it was 81 degrees and partly cloudy in Barcelona. Now, you and I know we have this discussion all the time. Really different to living in Houston and Arizona in climate-controlled environments versus 81 degrees in Barcelona with no air conditioning. But it's also kind of stupid because the main reason why they talk about the heat in Formula One is
the tires, right?
The tires and stuff.
Yeah.
On top of it, too,
even I know that.
on top of it, too, it's a little different being contained within a car in a not very
in a fire suit.
Yeah, not very breathable suit for a couple of hours versus playing an NFL game where you run to the touch line, like the sidelines every 2 plays and sit in front of a fan while you drink Gatorade. Like it's not quite the same experience. But the thing that really annoys me about JJ Watt, and this has nothing to do with the fact that he's a Burnley co-owner, so it's not partisan rivalries, but I think he's really trying to endear himself to the Burnley supporters and sort of come across as a little bit more English. And one of the ways in which he's doing this is he's using mate a lot. He uses a lot now whenever he responds to someone who criticizes him. So at one point, someone wrote back, if you are clueless about how heat affects Formula One racing, you could just say that. And he said, check my CV, mate. Ever worked on a pit crew? Because I guess he did some NASCAR pit crew thing.
Here's the question. Is it MATE or is it M8? Oh,
he didn't do the M8, thank God.
Okay. He's not that far dead yet.
He did MATE, but still, it's just it really bothers me. You can't adopt it at 35 years old when you don't even live in the country just because you visit a couple times a year to watch Burnley. It's because I also think what they don't understand is the wonderful thing about a word like mate is if it is natural to you, it's a very flexible word. It's very adaptable. It can be aggressive. It can be the friendliest thing you can say in the world, and it can fill in every space between. But when you're American and you say, check my CV, mate, you not only come across as a prick, but it comes across as a lot more prickish than you probably intend on it being. Maybe not in this instance, but a lot of other times where he uses it, where I think he feels like it's a soft way of telling someone to, go away. But the reality is he's being as blunt and as direct as he would be if he phrased it in very different terms.
No, I agree. It's that's weird. I mean, but we know firsthand people who who do that and maybe visit London once every other year and suddenly adopt like their turn of phrases.
We
So
do.
it's yeah, but it's definitely purposeful, 100%.
Yes,
Which
without doubt.
actually brings me to I started the new season of Welcome to Wrexham. And not a bad show. I kind of like it.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm not the intended audience, but I'm sure it's fine.
You are definitely not the intended audience. But
Me.
I mean, the main thing is I'm really interested to see whether they're gonna get promoted this year or not. So I have to wait. I have to wait 5 more weeks for the finale.
I feel like why can't they be doing that more sort of
Sooner.
live? Like,
Because I think they like to. I th- they like to make it a high quality documentary. Like it's now gotten Emmy nominations, and I think it's actually won Emmys. So I think part of it is they want to know what the story's going to be, and then that way they can start shaping the story in episode one. Because you do kind of see it already. Like they'll be talking about things that because I know what happens,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, I wonder why they're discussing this or mentioning this or doing that. So that's definitely why, because I think they want the like a high quality. But I
I
agree. I
guess,
think
but
it should be earlier.
you'd be just as notable for, hey, we do this documentary throughout the season, and a week after everything happens, an episode comes out, and it kind of gives you a recap of that week before, and really interesting insight into the day-to-day running of a team sort of in real time. And part of the value that we offer and the insights that we offer is that we don't know what's going to happen across the season, so we aren't able to focus on, like, if a player comes out of nowhere, we maybe don't cover him enough early on in the season, or we might build up to some player who then gets injured and is no longer involved, or who we sell in January. I think that would be that would actually make me watch. But the idea of tuning in, as once the
After
season is
everything's
over,
over.
to be like, where's the drama on this final day? There is none.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else in the world of sports to cover? Oh, actually, I have one more topic. So I know not that long ago, well, maybe 2 years ago, we spoke about the enhanced games. So
Oh,
these
yeah, I saw this.
these Olympics that are allowing people to just take as many drugs as they want with zero repercussions, and actually openly encouraging the competitors to take drugs. And they're now starting to release the results. It's kind of strange because the format's weird. So in swimming, they just had the 50-meter freestyle record was broken, but it's a single swimmer in a pool. No one else is racing. And then on top of it, he gets multiple attempts to try and break the record. So it's basically setting absolute perfect conditions with no pressure and letting you go over and over again until you break the record. So I think
On steroids.
on steroids. I mean, absolutely,
Make
just
sure.
a monster of a human being. Now, I saw the before and after of the guy when he competed in the 2014 Olympics, and you see the picture of him now. They are not the same human being. Like
It's crazy.
he has put on like 80 pounds of muscle. It is
Yeah.
not at it is not at all
His
the same.
lats are like oozing out of his Speedo.
Yeah. And part of it, what I always find interesting is so part of it is that they are openly kind of trolling. So they know that they're going to get the hatred on social media and they love it. So when you kind of go on their Instagram accounts, it's a lot of people responding by saying not a real world record, and them saying back like fastest time ever, wink, and stuff, and like they are living off the idea that when I looked, there were 1,000 comments on the video that they posted. 800 of them were just people hating what they'd done, but they respond to each and every one of them, encouraging those people to follow and keep, and things like saying, because they're not releasing the recordings of the records. They're sort of strategically releasing them. So there's things like people saying like, "Will anyone break Usain Bolt's record?" And then their response is, "Maybe they already have." stuff like this to try and kind of keep you tuned. But I don't know. I don't know. Again, in the same way that the Wrexham documentary isn't for me, the enhanced games aren't for me either.
Yeah, I have no desire to watch them. I like you saw the picture of the guy, the before and the after, and I was like, this is so dumb. Like, what's the point of this? I don't understand.
And if anything, right, it almost, because part of the argument they use sometimes is, oh, well, we're just being transparent because everyone is cheating and we're just letting our guys openly cheat, or girls. Yeah. Um, where you kind of undermine that argument slightly is when just these absolute monsters come out after they're because what I don't remember is Usain Bolt from like Beijing to London putting on 60 pounds of muscle and just looking like a completely different person. I don't remember that transformation over the course of his career.
Yeah, it is. It's wild. I don't know. I'm sure people will love it. I'm sure people are going to say this is the way sports should be, but then they'll also say that sports should be pure.
Speaking of, we've had this conversation previously too, and I will not name names here. But a friend of yours, who I suppose is also a friend of mine now, and I've mentioned this to you off podcast, but he Instagram loves telling on people who are being a bit weird on just, hey, we think you should be interested in this reel because someone you follow has liked it. And the stuff that I am getting suggested as a result of this person influencing how my reels are curated, the impact they're having on my algorithm is quite significant.
What is it?
So this this is a video of I get this now a lot because obviously I will say, have I engaged with it? Because yeah, I've watched it long enough and then clicked on it to be like, who do I know who is watching this? Then I'm obviously getting more of them. But this is a
Sure.
woman who guys tell them how big their penises are, and then she pulls out a tape measure and then reacts to the size. That's all it is.
I know. I've seen this too. I've probably seen this because of the same person.
Yeah. And I don't know why that would be like, if you're a respectable human being, how are you following that account? Like, why are you telling the world that this is content you think is interesting or valuable?
Kind of want to know who's following this account now.
Just the lack of shame. This is why we're screwed as a race. Just the lack of shame race. I mean, by that I mean human race, not but the absolute lack. Just yeah, I'll just tell the world that I'm a creep. There's no problems there.
I'll figure out who it is. Now I'm gonna have to go search for those videos to see who's following them.
And the joke is, it's Frank.
The only one following it is me. I don't get it.
In transitioning, as I suppose, away from sports, I did see a news story that a teacher in the U.S. on the final day of school wanted to bring a treat for his students. So, and told his students to bring in like snacks and drinks to kind of celebrate the final day. And he has landed himself in hot water
Oh
because
boy.
he brought in drinks and he did not realize that they were alcoholic. So he brought in hard Mountain Dew. So
What
he
the
brought
fuck is hard Mountain Dew? I didn't
he
even know it
brought
exists.
yeah, well it does. There's Baja Blast and there's Baja Blast Mango are the two flavors. And
Okay.
so they are 5% alcohol. And he brought those in just thinking that they were
Is this
variations
high
of
school? What did you say? This is high school?
I think they were 5th and 6th graders.
5% is a little too much for a fifth grader.
And he brought them in just thinking that they were variations of Mountain Dew, which I can kind of understand. Like
Yeah,
I
I can
think
too.
I can think seeing that and not it does say hard on it, but
No, he meant like he thought it meant like it goes hard, like it's super caffeinated.
but hard to find.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
but it ended with one child having to go to hospital after they'd had a couple of them. Now I think that was probably a little
Whoops.
dramatic, but still.
The actually going to the hospital part is crazy. It's got to be a little exaggerated.
I'm sure that was a case of let's go to the hospital because there's a lawsuit here. So let's sort of make a really big deal out of this because there could be a nice payout coming from the public school system.
Yeah. So I have a slightly sports topic. Actually, I forgot. I don't know if you saw this, but Jaromir Jagr has now had a teammate play in the Stanley Cup Finals for 45 years in a row. And you thought the Shaq was like 37 years or something like that, and that just got busted like 5 or 6 years ago, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
It is. Shaq too was like really taking advantage of the fact that he played briefly with LeBron James towards the back end of his career. So I think it also depends. Like I judge it slightly based on how are you extending? Is it just one person that's kind of
Yeah,
keeping
like
your
who is
record
it?
going? Or is it because there's two or three players still active?
Good question. I'm not sure. That would require some detailed investigation. But that's the last of the sports topics I had. So,
Well, in completely non-sports discussions, then I have started watching the Rehearsal season 2.
so have I.
Well, you
I
mentioned it
just
last.
started.
So I'm 5 episodes in.
Wow, you're an animal.
I can easily watch 2 episodes a night. Like that's
I
no problem.
can't watch 2 episodes a night of that show. It's a little too much.
The thing that I'm just fascinated by is like just trying to figure out which parts of it are real and which parts of it are not. That's the bit.
Everything is fake.
Yeah, no,
I think I think like even so for instance, episode 1, um that's the one where he finds like the first officer who's like dating the Starbucks girl. I think all of that's fake. I don't think he's a first officer. I don't think she works at Starbucks. I think they're like actors within actors within actors. And it's like a fucking rabbit hole, which I kind of like. I think it's kind of funny, but it's just like he's putting like rabbit holes into rabbit holes into rabbit holes and just seeing like how many, like it's like when you have that camera with a mirror and you just like keep seeing through like different dimensions. That's kind of what he does on like a television show.
so on Reddit, not that that's necessarily a trustworthy source, but they are claiming that the pilots are real pilots. That people are
Maybe those
aware.
ones he brings in, but I
The
think that
first guy,
episode one is not real.
the first one, I'll put it this way: if it is, I don't want that guy anywhere near the controls of any plane I'm ever on.
No. I'm up now to the one where he's trying to emulate the life of Sully. And he like starts with him as a
That's
baby and
super
they build
bizarre.
like the enormous set.
Yeah,
So weird.
I
He's
just couldn't imagine
so weird.
being Sully and tuning in for that episode, and then just having this weird part of your life portrayed by this bizarre character. But
I
yeah,
haven't
no,
gotten through that episode. That one I started yesterday and I didn't get a chance to finish.
yeah, I think
It has funny moments though. Like there are parts that I genuinely laugh out loud for, and I am probably in a minority for it. I think I'm sure a lot of people watch it and are basically this is stupid, like this is so dumb. But I do kind of get a kick out of how neurotic he gets with things, like in a joking way, but is serious about it in live. I think it's kind of funny. He is so good at being so awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But yeah, I don't know. I think part of the fascination of the show is trying to figure out. I'm with you. I think most of it's fake,
Yeah.
but just trying
And
to
I think
figure
that's
out.
part of it too. I think that's like part of the joke.
Yeah, probably. And him being like finding it amusing that people don't get that it's fake. Yeah. But there's obviously real elements because he then involves real people in some of the fake parts of it, and you don't know how quickly they necessarily can tell it's fake or not. But it's definitely entertaining. He has a very weird mind. There's no doubting that.
Yeah, super strange. I do love the part. Like there are some things that crack me up, like the one where I mean it's obviously very Nathan to like do the whole recreation of the George Washington airport or whatever. But then what I found like even funnier was like I needed a place to get the pilots and the first officers to like interact with each other in like a non-formal setting. And I remembered I still had the bar set that I built from season one. So I transplanted that into the makeshift airport that we also created. And he goes back and he shows you, and it's like next to the fake Panda Express is now like this bar. And he's inviting like real pilots to come into a fake bar in a fake airport. Like I thought that was fucking hysterical. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. And look, it scratches a lot of itches for me because, as has been well documented on this podcast, I do love air crash investigations. So it is.
Yeah.
There's an
Episode
overlap
one, I
there.
was like, I don't know if I can watch this. When he was doing like when he's going through like all the crashes and like what they were saying like right before they crashed, I was like, I don't fucking know if I can watch this. Like
Oh,
this
well,
is getting me a little.
it's some of the best content out there. But I mean, it is terrifying because it makes you realize how easily things can go wrong, and then it's surprising that they don't go wrong more often. I guess the thing. So I think like the goal he's trying to achieve of the sort of role playing for pilots, which I guess they call CRM in the airline industry, that already exists. Air crash investigation shows that I watch have been speaking about that for a long, long time as to how they then help people learn from previous issues. So I think that bit's also kind of fake of him trying to make it seem as if this is an area that the airline industry has not responded to or paid attention to in any way. And then part of it, this bit, maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but every show I ever watch about pilots, the idea that pre-flight they have no interaction with each other, that they just until they sit in the cockpit.
That's so weird.
Because I was under the impression that when they went and sat, they do discuss weather with each other,
When
flight
in the room, when they
paths.
go in the room, they're like, "Hey, we're
Yes.
flying together. Like, what's it look like out there?"
Yeah. And oh, we got two legs. I'll fly the first, you fly the second. Those types of discussion. It's not just happening once they get into the cockpit. And maybe they want you to feel that way, and in the reality is they don't do that as much as you think. But whenever I've heard a pilot speak about what they do, it involves that process.
Yeah, it's weird. That is so strange.
And I think the interesting thing for me is I don't know why you would ever go on one of his shows, because I think no matter how aware you tried to be of it being a joke, there's no good way to play it. So if you
No.
lean into the joke, you just look like an idiot. But if you also make it seem like it's a joke, you also kind of look like an idiot. So it's just sort of lose-lose appearing alongside him no matter what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're struggling actors, is my guess.
The actors I get.
And then obviously, Eddie, I think you'll be happy to know I have finished The Last of Us.
Nice. We can do a timely reaction to the end of the season. I guess it means we at least don't have to warn people about spoiler alerts quite in the same way, but
Well, we should.
I guess
because we will spoil this.
we should. Yes, something that's been spoiled for years if you've paid any attention to the video games. But yeah, as I said to you before we spoke, the penultimate episode was definitely better, and then the season finale is not great.
I would go as far as saying bad.
I'm genuinely at the point of I don't know if I'm tuning in for season 3.
Well, yeah, so they lost over 50% of their viewership in this season. I understand why. I will obviously still watch it because I have to complete things that I start. But
Yeah.
it's going to be even weirder because season 3, for the most part, is going to be the Abby story. Like it's basically going to be like her point of view from those 4 days or whatever in Seattle, which then means you won't get back, most likely, to that scene of Ellie until like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And that is
And we know
fucking
she does,
insane.
and we know she doesn't die. You know what I mean?
Well,
You
we don't
can't
know she doesn't
have,
die.
well, you have the cliffhanger where that's not really a cliffhanger unless they are really going to have a huge departure from the canon
Oh, way to
material.
spoil it.
Well, I don't know
I
how.
wouldn't be surprised if she's dead. Maybe they see the reaction to her performance and
Oh, maybe
they 180 it.
yeah, leave it on a cliffhanger and give us a while to think about whether or not you're coming back.
I
But
have to say, I think for me overall, like the last episode, we discussed it earlier when we were kind of talking about it. Some of the scenes have gotten too video gamey, and it's like not good television anymore. Like the scene where she takes the boat out and all of a sudden hits a rogue wave that throws her randomly onto this island where they're ready to start hanging people. Like that's such like a video game thing where it's like you're about to go do something. It's like, uh-oh, you've hit this like random thing now that's throwing you off to a different mission. It was so dumb that like her and the boat exactly wash up on shore, the same thing. And then she's about to get killed and then randomly gets saved out of nowhere with the dumbest thing ever where they're like, what should we do with her? And it's like, it could take us 4 seconds to do what we were going to do 30 seconds from now. Nah, let her go. Like, wait, what?
yeah,
Who in their right mind would just be like, kill her quick, cut, dead. Okay, now let's go. Because that's what we were going to do no more than a
yeah, but
minute from now.
that's a pretty standard trope in film and
But
television, right?
it is, but I like season 1 was better than that. And that's what's like what sucks is like season 1 wasn't so tropey. Like it didn't have like it was a better show than your average show. Like it was good. And then now it's kind of falling back into just being like almost like a more high budget Walking Dead, like to an
Yeah,
extent. Like
basically.
it kind of sucks. Not
Yeah.
that like it sucks that it's happening. It doesn't suck yet, the show,
Well,
but I'll tell
I
you
think it
what,
kind of does.
Ellie sucks.
She does.
As a character,
There's
she
nothing to like
sucks.
about her. There's absolutely nothing to like about her,
She sucks.
and and that's not a default of the actors within the TV show. That's
A little
writing.
bit. She's not doing a great job. I honestly like I
Well,
don't think she did great this season.
look, I've said it many episodes. I don't think she's necessarily a great actor. She doesn't have a lot of life or expression within her face. And that's challenging in a role like that where you're actually being asked sometimes. That's the only thing on screen is let us see
Yeah.
your visual reaction to something. And I just also think there's too many inconsistencies within the character of when is she super tough? Now she's not tough anymore. Now she's really affected emotionally. Then she isn't affected emotionally and she does care about people. She doesn't care about people. And I guess they're trying to show this incredibly nuanced character, but it just comes across
It's
as
not.
inconsistent.
Yeah. Yeah. You're 100% like it's so inconsistent. Like you watch the episode the flashback with Joel and she's so upset with Joel because she said maybe that was like my destiny to save humanity and to like be the savior. Then the very next episode she was like literally fuck everybody on earth. I care about like my one person community. So now you don't care about humanity. You give two shits about humanity now. Like it's so inconsistent. Like the line that almost made me laugh was when Jesse at the end, right before he just gets fucking domed, is like, I came back because I knew if that were me, you would have come back and you would have saved and avenged me. And it's like, really? She literally just abandoned saving Joel's brother an hour ago. Not only is it a random guy in a community, it's Joel's brother, the only living kin for the person she somewhat has a relationship with. And she's
But
just
who
like,
also she has a
fuck
pretty
him, let him die.
she also has a reasonably close relationship with.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
It's
even like,
so
I've never met
inconsistent.
that guy really. He just lives in Jackson Hole. It's like, no, the 6 people you speak to, one of them needs help. Like, no,
Who
no, no.
knows your secret,
Yeah.
like who
Also
probably
true.
knows the most about you besides Joel and all that. Like, yeah. And what the other thing that really, really bothers me is I don't like the fact that in season 1, she's kind of like, I mean, she's younger and she's naive and she's not stupid, but she doesn't know. And she's kind of like learning the ropes from Joel, who was very good at surviving and like getting into a situation and making it out. And like little things like in season 1 where he puts the glass outside the door to see if people are coming. Like all these tactics he's developed and he's teaching her in season 1. And you get this really cool idea of like, oh, they're like now have this relationship and she's going to learn everything from him and this and that. And now season 2 comes along and she hasn't fucking learned one thing. She just rushes into every situation, guns blazing, no thought process into every situation. It's just like full steam ahead. Like I'm not going to assess anything. And it's super, like, that's so dumb. Like, and it's such a disservice to season 1 and how much they worked on like having them build a bond and a relationship and like this teaching moments. It's stupid.
Yeah. No, she seems, as we've spoken about, there seems no reason why anyone else would ever trust her. And she's not very good at really anything. Like, there's no moment
No.
where you clearly see, if you don't know that she's immune, there's no real value that she's offering to any of these circumstances. And only 2 people living know that. Or, yeah, I guess. So it just doesn't, and she's reckless. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, but.
So reckless. And I mean, honestly, maybe season 3 will be better because the 30 seconds that Caitlin Devers was in the show at the end was probably the best part of that episode. Like, she was the best acted in that entire episode and she was in it for 25 seconds.
Yeah. There's a possibility that storyline is more interesting than the Ellie storyline. And I feel extra worried for her for Bella Ramsey, because I feel like people will be intent on finding that more interesting and then use that as like another opportunity to tell her how much she sucks. Is like, oh no, now this is supposed to be the bad guy and now we want her to succeed, because like, can she kill you? That would be great. Like, I can
I mean,
100%.
is she the bad guy?
Unclear. I think no one is supposed to really be the bad guy, right? Although we've seen them
Or not
torture
supposed to be the
people and
good
do.
guy?
Yeah, that's definitely true. And no one is a good actor. But and look, she's in the couple of episodes she's been in, she has been extremely good. Now,
Yeah.
admittedly,
She's the best actor in the show as of now.
there was that story around when she did when she killed Pedro Pascal. Did you see any of this? So her
What?
dad had died in real life,
Oh
and they had
boy.
to delay filming so that she
Via
could go.
golf club?
Oh, man.
Oh.
They had to delay filming so that she could go home, and then she came back, and that was like the first scene she did, was the
Oh my
beating Pedro
God. That's
Pascal to
terrible.
death. So obviously, given having just had her dad die, to then sort of embody that role, people said that it was like very emotional to then watch. And they had a lot of were very impressed by her. They kept telling her, we can delay it more, we can just film other things. And I mean, eventually I guess you have to do it if you're going to take the part. So
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like that last when the gunshots happen and they run out and then you see her, like just her standing there was some of the best acting of that episode. Just like the posture and like the presence she has. So I am kind of hopeful for that. I think she's a very good actor and maybe she can have a pretty cool storyline to tell from the other side. But yeah, it's just the Ellie character in itself just there's nothing to root for, and there's nothing to really, almost nothing to feel for. Like I don't feel it when she's like kind of upset but not upset about killing Noelle and then killing the pregnant woman. Like I don't see it. Like it doesn't connect to for me. And I think that's part of, like, from what I've heard, because I've never played the game. In the game, she's just like a straight hard ass. And I would kind of prefer that. Like that would be fine if that were what it was. But the way they're trying to like give her some emotion and grieving, but then still trying to keep her a hard ass, but she's not actually good at being a hard ass, and she has to get bailed out every fucking situation. Like there's nothing great going on.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Now, obviously, that final scene, they're in Lumen Field, the Seattle
Yeah,
Seahawks
the
stadium.
Seahawks, right?
Any chance that someone mentioned the Legion of Boom in season 3 makes that joke?
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Or does anyone give a hold my dick?
As they throw themselves on a grenade,
Yeah,
or like when
yeah.
who was it, Cam Chancellor, who got really annoyed and started flicking off Pete Carroll and all them. Do you think someone gets like bit by a zombie and then just annoyingly just giving the middle finger to everyone else as they get consumed by the virus? But I will say there is a chance I never watch season 3 if it comes out at
Nah,
a
you'll
time.
watch it.
If it comes out of a time, a high sports concentration, or when there's a lot of other good shows on, it could just slip away. I'm not like you. I don't have the like thing in my head that requires that I finish shows. If I don't, I'm very on the fence about it at the moment.
That's
And
crazy.
if it comes along when there's 4 or 5 other shows on and it's the NFL season, it's not getting watched.
I'll make sure you watch it right after you watch Endor.
I could run through a list of 10 shows from the last 5 years that I just never finished, even if I'd watched. I mean, I never finished The Mandalorian, I don't think. Speaking of Pedro Pascal, I never finished Boardwalk Empire. Just gave up on that
I
one.
never even started Boardwalk Empire.
But that's different. There's
That's an
a lot
old
of
one
them.
though. You're going back there.
I know. That was just the first ones
Never
that came to
finished
mind.
MASH.
Still need to wrap up the final season of Cheers, hoping the bar stays open.
Yeah, if only they were like a spin-off of Cheers or something with some of the characters. That'd be nice.
Never watched the reboot of that.
Yeah. Of Frasier is what you're talking about. I watched like 2 episodes, and it actually wasn't bad. It was kind of
Oh, look, you
almost
gave up on
like normal
something.
Frasier.
Well done.
No, you know what? Because I watched it on a plane, and at the time I didn't have Paramount, but now I have Paramount. So you know what? I'm probably gonna watch it now.
Oh God, should never reminded you.
I do love the original Frasier. It's such a good show.
Now we're getting closer to my Oasis concert. I haven't actually received my tickets yet. So
They're waiting for you to take a picture of your wheelchair.
I'll have to see. Hopefully those arrive sometime soon because I'm only 6 weeks away. But I did, final topic for me, I guess. I did this weekend rejoin a Ticketmaster queue to buy tickets to one of the London NFL games to go and see the Minnesota Vikings play the Cleveland
Going to see my team?
Browns.
Nice. The old Midwest rivalry.
That took 6 hours of my Saturday.
6 hours? Well, did you sit there for 6 hours in front, or like doing other things?
I didn't do a lot else because they kept pausing the queue because they were trying to filter out bad actors, as they referred to it. And so it would tell you 50 minutes away, but then it would get paused. So I was like, well, I don't want to walk away for 30 minutes and then they've cut a bunch of people out and now I miss my. But what ended up happening was I got to the front of the queue and I logged in, and then I got like a Ticketmaster bug when I went to check out, and it prompted me to sign back in again. And when I signed back in again, back in the queue.
Really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. So fortunately, that was quicker at that stage. So it only took another like 20 minutes, and I Didn't get the exact tickets that I wanted. They were not quite as good, but I still got reasonable tickets.
Nice. When is that?
First Sunday in October, October 5th.
Oh, nice.
So it's at Spurs Stadium. So that's a big motivation for going, to just
Ooh.
get to experience that. I nearly went for the hospitality tickets, but I'd be honest, none of them sounded like that great of a deal.
Did you get the accessible tickets?
And I could have done. Contemplated it, but do you know what? I made the joke. I made the comment. I said I got 2 years of eligibility for Ticketmaster of accessibility tickets. But I thought, do you know what? This is an actual stadium, and I'm going to have to sit then in that section, and that's a very different experience to the concert I'm going to, and I would not enjoy that. So I did not. I've paid full price for 2 tickets.
But in fairness, you could have just had Missy throw her boot on.
£220 a ticket.
How? Yeah. Really?
Yeah. They're in the 100 section, but
where? Like what? The corner? 50-yard line? Corner.
Yeah.
Damn, that's like $270 USD.
Yeah, maybe a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah, 50-yard line was sold out
for Vikings Browns.
Yeah. When by the time I got there, the nothing in the middle until you went top of the stadium was available. So you then had to pick and choose where you were, unless you were going to go down hospitality. So I did seriously contemplate the hospitality, which was £395 a ticket. But then it doesn't tell you where in the hospitality section your seat was. So you could obviously end up in you got 1 free drink when you arrive, plus snack food. And then you get a 1 halftime drink, but you're also in a private section where you can buy more food and drink as well. So you're getting sort of easy access to food and drink. But to me, that sounded like
that's not worth it.
Yeah, if I was going to go down for £690, that was all you can eat and drink. You have to go that path, because you have to think to yourself, can I drink? Can I eat and drink
£400
£400 worth of stadium food? And the answer to that is,
you figure what a Guinness is probably how many, 12 pounds there?
Yeah, let's say 10 for ease of. Let's say it's 10 pounds of beer. So
that's
over the course,
it's got to be more than that.
I don't know, maybe not.
It's 10 pounds in London.
So let's say you show up 90 minutes early and you'll stay for an hour after the game. So you have
12 beers. It's 120.
Yeah.
And then let's say you eat about 100 in food. That's like 220.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Tough.
And you also get a nicer ticket. You're in the box section, padded seat. It should be a bit nicer, but I don't know. It didn't. I did think about it, but if they could have told me, I would have pulled the trigger if you knew which seat it was going to give you. Because what I didn't want is I'm going to pay £400 now, and then you're going to sit me, yes, in a nicer seat, but behind one of the goalposts. So I'm not getting an improved viewing experience anyway. So what's the difference? That's the thing I wouldn't want to happen.
Yeah, that would suck. Oh, but that'd be cool going to Spurs Stadium.
No, looking forward to it. And hopefully there's a chance that those are 2 good teams. It is possible.
Yeah.
Depends who's
maybe 500
for the Browns.
For either.
Yeah, also true. Yeah. But it's possible that they could both be good.
Yeah, we'll see. What's the other ones in London?
So there's the Dublin game this year too, which I think the Vikings are playing the week before. Maybe that's Vikings. I know the Jets are playing one of the.
Oh, tell me the Jets are playing Dublin, because then I know a few people who are going to be going to that.
So you have Friday, September 5th is the Chiefs at the Chargers, but that's in Brazil. Then Sunday, Sunday, September 28th, it's the Vikings at Steelers in Ireland.
No thanks.
And the following week, it's Vikings at Browns in London at Spurs Stadium. So the Vikings are just staying in Europe for 2 weeks. Nice. Then you have the following week, it's Broncos at Jets at Spurs Stadium.
I wonder if people are going to go to that.
probably.
We
And
know
then
Jet fans.
the following week it's Rams at
Also a
Jags.
terrible game, though.
Not a great one, no. Well, the Broncos are good.
Rams. Yeah, but they're like, I don't really love watching them.
Then it's Rams at Jags on the 19th.
So not great.
Then it's Falcons at Colts in Berlin. And then the final international game is, and possibly the best, depending on how these teams go, it's the Commanders at the Dolphins in Madrid.
In Madrid. Wow.
Yeah, so
That one could be decent.
that could be, assuming Tua's healthy and the Dolphins are competent this season. That could be a pretty good game.
Otherwise, you might have. I'm gonna rule out the Brazil one, but you might have the best game then in the Vikings and Browns.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, maybe Rams, Jags, but
Viking Steelers, Viking Browns is probably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know, like they're,
who the fuck wants to watch the Steelers?
well, you say this, but we can pencil them in for 10 wins.
And a
that's
first round playoff loss.
And that's probably one of them. So, yeah, I mean, there's no complete garbage games. They have slightly improved the quality of the international games.
Only one Jags game, so I guess the Jags aren't London's team anymore.
Maybe that's part of the way they've tried to improve the quality of the London games. Is not have not have 2 Jags games.
Well, I think with that we'll call it a wrap.
Sounds good.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.